This is a summary of the Huddleback Club. This is a club that meets every Monday at around 11:30, goes for an hour or so. It was founded by about 10 friends who wanted to continue a friendship that began prior to their retirement. It's a group that includes coaches, boosters, officials, educators, and friends that enjoyed years of camaraderie on and off the athletic fields. The records get better and the feats become greater with each new discussion. This Huddleback presently meets at the Meadow Lanes, 11:30 every Monday. Meadow Lanes is for sale. The date today is 8/22/2011. It's up for sale, and it may be the last meeting at Meadow Lanes. This small club started the charter members. There's about 10 of them. The original members were Jerry Canterbury, Jim Roush, and Ed Wessel, and they started at the Tower Light. They had regular meetings with monthly meetings of retired teachers. They said, we'd like to meet a little bit more, and so they formed this group, and they met on top of the Tower Light. It's out by the zoo. It went from there to Bachman's in the upstairs. They were moved out of there because Meade Johnson had a larger group of people. Subsequently went back to the Tower Light. Did go to the American Legion. That's American Legion 265. It used to be the Lincoln Inn on Fairs Avenue. It used to be the old 41. And eventually it came to Meadow Lanes. This Huddleback Club will change its location probably in 2012. The charter members on the club, other original members to the quarterback club are Morris Riley, and as I said before, Jerry Canterbury, Ed Wessel, Guy Andrus. They sit up at the head table. Don Watson he's deceased. Joe Umfried, and Jim Roush was one of the original beginners or people that's one of the individuals that started the club. And then Archie Owen was one of the original members, and subsequently they have had about close to 50 members now, which has increased significantly. And the quarterback club, most of the Huddleback Club are members. Many of the members are members of the quarterback club. Quarterback club at one time had not as many members as they liked, and most of the Huddleback Club infused into the quarterback club. They don't meet from September through December during the quarterback club meetings, and that's helped rejuvenate a lot of the quarterback club with Huddleback Club members. Now the spelling there is Huddleback. Mr. Saul has created an emblem, and one of the spellings, rumor has it, is that it's spelled Huttleback. I don't know if any of those words are in the dictionary. And Jim McCutcheon keeps a directory with internet addresses as well as other addresses for everybody in the club. What is the definition of huddle and huddleback? Is there really a word huddleback? This is huddle done at a Celtic soccer game, and this is their definition of huddle. Huddleback's a hard definition to come by. This is at a Celtic soccer game. They're doing the huddle. Okay, we're at the original Tower Light restaurant that was here for about 4 decades. Now it's Ohio Valley Grain Inspection. You see the zoo is located, the old main entrance to the zoo is located here on the top of St. Joe Road here on the west side. Up in the upstairs here is the original place for the Huddleback Club meetings. This place became too small, and later on they had to move to other locations that we'll try to see later on in this video. But this has a unique construction. This building has a very unique construction with a turret in the front
identified easily by observers, was a bar and restaurant for the west side of town for many decades in Evansville. This is the top floor was where the Huddleback Club met for many years. We're at New Harmony Way and Big Cynthiana Road, and you see the restaurant in the front is Bachman's Family Dining and Bar. In the upstairs here, the Huddleback Club met for a brief period of time. They first were at the Tower Light 1991 till around 93, got a little small, and they went to the upstairs of this restaurant for a couple years. After a while, Me Johnson had a meeting up there, and they were moved back to the Tower Light. But this was the home for the Huddleback Club for 1 to 2 years in the 90s. As we see the Bachman restaurant, it has been closed in the decade of the 2000s. It was closed. It was open in the 90s, and it was a restaurant that served the west side for many decades, but it closed late 90s, early 2000s. Down the road is the old mill, still open, and serves a lot of people on the west side, place for a lot of good entertainment. Down the road on New Harmony Way, see a little further, there's Resurrection Church, and further down is Funkhauser Post number 8. Funkhauser Post number 8 was our biggest post in Funkhauser 8 was our biggest post in Evansville. It was on Clark Street downtown. Got a lot of World War II, World War I recruits to join that post. They had old World War I doughboy out in front. Now they have it inside the Funkhauser Post 8, but it was our main post, having over 3,000 members. One time it made it one of the larger posts, American Legion posts in Evansville. They were able to recruit many people, came back on the L&N Railroad, and many of the men would leave the post, go down and get the World War II recruits that had just come back from the war in World War II. But this, back to the Huddleback, this is Bachman's Fine Dining, and the upstairs there is where many of the events occurred for the Huddleback. 3 people helped start it, Jim Roush, Jerry Canterbury, and Ed Ressel. Then we have some other charter members, but those 3 men started this in the about 1991. This is the entrance to the Naughty Pine restaurant. One of the entrances, there's 2 entrances, 2 exits in the back as well. And as you see, one of the shirts hanging up, this is the more modern shirt. The emblem on there, and also on the paper on the floor. Artwork created by Jerry Sale, and I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit more of the artwork. It's all his artwork, and that's the symbol of the Huddleback Club on all these shirts. Prior to this shirt, we had a T-shirt, and we'll show some of those at the picnic. Some notebook paper examples that is also produced by the club and is given out at different events. Shirts are available for members, and once a year on Valentine's Day, the wives or girlfriends are allowed to come to the Huddleback Club meeting on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Our reigning queen is Mrs. McGarry, or Mrs. Raleigh McGarry, and she's been busy on her European tour, so it's a pretty prestigious queening of quarterback queen. So that's been in existence for as long as 7 years. This is August 22nd, 2011. This is close to 20 years of the existence of the Huddleback Club. Today's meeting will probably be the last meeting at Meadow Lanes. Meadow Lanes has been the home of the Huddleback Club for close to a decade. The room behind the entranceway here is a room that has about 6 large round tables. We'll see later in the video. These 6 large round tables are where the men in the Huddleback Club meet every Monday. This has been happening for a decade. They have another room in the back of this bowling alley. This bowling alley, one of the main bowling alleys in Evansville for several decades. Bowling alley served the north side of town, and you see the other part of the bowling alley now. It's up for sale. The building plus the parking lot is close to 2 acres of land. They also did a lot of catering here. In the room behind the Huddleback shirt there was the meeting room that the Huddleback Club met for the last 10 years. There's another large room that also serves for catering that the Huddleback Club used during its time here as well. This is the north side of town, as you see where we are. This over here by this near Mill Road. There's a church in the background called Holy Redeemer. Tompkins School is in the background. Up on the hill is Stringtown School. This is North Park Shopping Center. This Holly's house here behind us. Holly's house used to be North Park Library. North Park Library is now has moved next to the new Central High School that's north of here about a mile. But this area of town has been a hotbed for a lot of shoppers. A lot of women like to come out to this area and spend some of those paychecks from some of the Huddleback members. Later in the video, we're going to go over a little bit what the Huddleback does and the functions of the Huddleback and how a lot of good friendships have been formed. The word huddle, in regards to sports, looks like that name evolved about 1892, and there was a deaf school, Illinois school for the deaf, that played football, and the other teams that played this deaf school were also deaf, and they could read their hand signals. So because they could read their hand signals, this coach and quarterback said, let's make a huddle. So they made a circle huddle about 1892, and that's been used in cricket, soccer, and football since that time. But that originated from a deaf school. That's a round huddle. About in the 1950s, a Florida coach invented the typewriter huddle. The typewriter huddle was used by many high schools in Evansville back in the 1950s and 60s. Many of them still use the round huddle, but many have converted to the typewriter huddle since 1950s or 60s. Bossy and Wrights are a little slow in moving from the round huddle to the typewriter huddle, but North and Memorial and Central, some of the other teams moved to the typewriter huddle a little earlier in time. I don't know what Morris Riley and Herman Byers, Coach Lowe, and Archie Owen thought about that. But they say in the round huddle, the quarterback or whoever's giving the signals in the middle of the huddle can't see everybody, but the typewriter huddle allows you to see everybody. But the irony in it, talking about a huddle, was invented for a deaf school, and ironically, I don't think that Jim Roush or Ed Wessel or Jerry Canterbury thought that many of the Huddleback clubbers may have a problem with their hearing, and that's maybe some irony in why they created the name Huddleback. I cannot find the word Huddleback in the dictionary, so it may be a creative word. Huddle is in the dictionary and in Wikipedia, but Huddleback is not able to be found. So this is a word that's the teachers have not looked up in the dictionary prior to creation of this club. Back Club, Jim Roush got together once a year, and in the past they used to make a meal for all the Evansville coaches, make a Boston butt, and the coaches would appreciate that, and they did that for many years. Huddleback Club also has had picnics many times at the different members' backyard. Guy Andrus and has been in his backyard, also Jim Roush, and now Jack Weatherall, because his wife was a member of AT&T. Jack Weatherall was able to get us a a place for the summer picnic last Monday of August every year, and that's been a lot of fun for all the different members for over the last decade. The Huddleback has, we will see a little later, a little flag, and that was donated by Gus Durner. Gus Durner had a large sports shop in town. He was a member of the quarterback club. Many famous athletes have been, and teachers and other people in the community have been members of the Huddleback Club over the many years. There's also during the activities, there are things that are given away. You grab a your attendance wooden quarter out of the football, and you win some of the money if you're the first, and if you're the last person to grab one of the wooden quarters, each person gets a little prize. Used to be a white elephant, considered a white elephant prize, and used to be ties, but the ties had so much, had more soup than tie, so they changed to just sort of a white elephant gift, and of low value and of not much significance is given out each time. The economics of the club, it's about $11 for each meal and $1 towards a tip, but $1 towards a lottery. The lottery, the most they've won over the many years of participation is $40, so the club is due to win. 35 cents goes to the picnic kitty, and half of it goes to the food. The next place may be a little more difficult to find prices like this. So games that are played, one is called Pick the Joker. Willie invented this game. There are a lot of other smaller games that were played before, and a lot of different games. And finally, Willie Williams came up with the game Win the Joker. So if you pick the Joker out of the deck, you win a fair amount of money. The pot builds up each week that it's not won. So the odds of picking the Joker out of the deck, if there's 52 cards, the odds get smaller each time that something's not won. This club was started back in 1991. The teachers had a regular meeting. This regular meeting, it was once a month, and was for only 6 months. And so lore has it that Jim Roush and Ed Wessel, Jerry Canterbury said, well, we're having a good time, why don't we meet a little more often? And so they started doing this at the Tire Light and started meeting every Monday, except during quarterback season. Quarterback club goes from September till December, so that's close to half a year that they meet on Mondays and have lunch and have a little bit of talking and visiting, and have developed the White Elephant and also the Joker giveaway. During this time, Ed Wessel gets up and goes over a few jokes, and that's been going on for 2 decades. Riley McGarry has had his jokes for the last 5 years or so. Neither one of them has David Letterman or Jay Leno or Johnny Carson's or Jack Parr's writers. They do all the writing themselves and find the jokes from different places, and they do it all on their own, and a lot of dry humor there. The person that presents the jokes, I have not seen them smile with one of their jokes yet, so it's a dry humor type of event that makes all the members smile. Got a lot of interesting people in the Huddleback Club of all walks of life, and very interesting group of individuals. This is the Huddleback Club, 8/22/2011. This is what it looks like. This is the last Huddleback Club at the Meadow Lanes in Evansville, Indiana. It's the last meeting, and this is the head table. These are some of the prizes. Used to be White Elephant sale, but now special prizes up on the front table. Football, and show us what's inside that football. Inside that football, we've got attendance quarters, and that tells you who's here, and you draw out of the football, and Morris calls your name, and then Morris Riley call the name, and then when you get your name called, you get one of these beautiful prizes. They're called beautiful prizes up in the front row.
This is a board that's got everybody's name on it.
Attendance list.
They come when we just take this off and put it in a football.
And so if they show up, it's a good way to keep attendance too. Yeah.
That's right.
And then they get to stay the whole time because they get a prize if they stay the whole time for the final
There's
drawing.
enough prizes.
Yeah.
There's enough prizes.
Okay.
So your flyers, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit.
Good. Okay.
Because the rest of them, they all sold out.
This is Donna. This is our waitress for the last 7 years, right? Okay. After everybody eats lunch.
36. Isn't that quite a lot?
Jerry's present.
You horny old man. All right. That time again. I'm going to make a couple announcements, and there'll probably be a couple more before I finish.
Before you finish?
Yeah, probably, or after I finish. I guess that's it. All right, first of all, wear shirts next week. I don't have mine on right now, but several have yours. Take another picture next week.
I'm not going to be there.
Be about the 14th one. How many have we got them all at home? Anybody in here got all those pictures saved up? I'm the only one? Dang. Probably. Yeah, I got every one of them. Okay, we'll eat probably between 11:30 and 12. So there are games going on and this and that, so there'll be plenty of time if you don't get busy pitching washers or horseshoes or hitting golf balls, you can eat later on. The picnic, as everyone knows, is free. Everything that we have is going to be free, except you are going to have to bring your beautiful gifts so that Morris can go ahead and call out your names and pass out our special gifts. I think most of you know where that is. It's been there before, but Jack's going to tell us one more time in case some of you asked a while ago about how to get out there. Jack, go ahead.
I'm not going to tell you, I get tired of telling you. There's a piece of paper on each of these tables back here. There's a couple pieces of paper that tells you how to get there. You're coming up 57 or 164.
These guys are teachers, you can't read.
41. Well,
Amen.
Oh, he's saying.
then I don't know what the hell to do with it. There will be no balloons this year.
Gone cheap.
There'll be a sign on each side of the road. Huddleback.
Can't miss that.
Will they be big? And I believe one of them is yellow and gold, yellow and brown.
Okay, that's one thing. Also, Guy, do you have something you would like to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell everybody thank you for the card and the gift, and that I'm going to miss you guys very much.
Come with us.
Wherever you land, I have a shirt. I will be crashing your meetings occasionally, so somebody just has to let me know where you're at.
That's the best thing about being an MC.
Probably have a heart attack. A heart attack. A heart attack, not a heart.
I'm not having any special disruption. Okay, Guy has an announcement too about that.
You said the picnic was free, but it's paid for out of some of the profits from this book, as well as some of the profits from some of the other things that we get from. Jerry gave me $30 today from the lottery.
Very good.
So we made $30 last week on the lottery.
Only lost 20.
Now, we passed out a survey to see how many could sell books. Only 52 have been sold through this survey, which leaves us 48 books to sell, and I don't know how we're going to sell them.
We got a bunch back here.
Yep. I'm just giving you some statistics. We still got 48 books to sell, and somebody needs to come up with an idea on how to sell them. We'll pass them out at the picnic next week. We do not have an IU schedule yet. They haven't put one out, so we'll have to do the same as we did last year, put an addition in later on. Any questions? Everybody understands what the book is for and how it's used.
Now, anybody else, this is not thinking of it right now, but we've been thinking about it for the last month or so. And I don't know anybody else got anything new about next year or anything. Does anybody have anything new about next year in places that we gave or maybe having this meeting next year? So if you do, if you don't, we're going to have to get together sometime, maybe next week, talk about a committee that if we do come up with something, we're going to have some way of contacting everyone in the club in case it's up. Also, this place doesn't look like we're going to be able here, but there is a possibility that it may be, and whoever gets it, that we can still be here. So that is one possibility. We hope, because it'd be isolated, we'd be by ourselves, and that's one thing we've always enjoyed about coming here, along with Donna. So that's all right. Okay, now before we get to Big Ed, we've got a couple of, at least one special guest for us today, and I'm going to call him. And if he will, I want him to come up here and stand up here. George, will you get up here and come here a minute? Oh, no, don't worry. You don't. George Fire. He doesn't have to talk, but I've known George ever since we were freshmen in high school. And by the way, before I get started, there's 4 guys here today on the basketball team I played in high school. There's only 5 of us living. And one of them is had a stroke, lives up in the northern part of the state. Charlie Fisher, a lot of you remember that. But there's 4 of us here today. That's George, Sam Freeman, Ed Wessel, and yours truly. We've got 4 of us here today. That's pretty good. Some other guys I think would probably be in some of your memories a little bit back here, and I'm sure George remembers. Charlie Goins was on our team. Malcolm Cook, who was one of Wright's greatest athletes. Bob Hertzberger, who was a good athlete, and Vic Buttram, so and Bob Parkinson, who played at George Washington. So they're the ones that have gone along. Now George came to Evansville. I don't know what year it was. Goshen, is that where you came from? Goshen, yeah. His dad coached at Goshen. I just thought of that a minute ago up here. George moved down here, and then his dad coached at Boston that first year, right? Right. And George entered. Even Stanley Hall over on the east side somewhere. We didn't go up there except when they had those good-looking girls with money up here in Boston at that time. But then he played freshman football with, and quarterback on his freshman football team was Bill Slimmer, right over here. So how about that? He ran the freshman football, and what was that first year was kind of.
Paid for Herman Keller, by the way.
Herman Keller was the freshman football coach.
Freshman football coach.
And then his dad figured out, well, he had George and Phil and Jimmy coming along a little bit later on, and figured he better get on the west side, so he bought a house out on the corner of Pennsylvania and Barker Avenue. We passed it a while ago, and I mentioned how they all knew about it, Sam and Greg Ritter and Bill. If you're coming in that highway, the Lloyd Expressway, and you look up on the hill, right as you pass Barker Avenue, there's a big white house up there. You can see it way out, all the way out, and that's where the Byers family lived. And they had to cut the grass. They went just like that. Cut that grass, George.
The highlight of the grass cutting was Jimmy was always big and strong for his age. And Philip was always the guy who was always thinking. So he had Jimmy harnessed on a harness with the lawnmower and directed him around the.
We were a team.
That's the one thing I really
One-man team,
and I remember having cut that, but I had to do it by myself. I would have never done that in the gym anyway.
Yeah, he had a good teacher. All right, then anyhow, go along with my story here about George. Then during his freshman year, his dad decided to move in that house out there. And so George had played freshman football at Bossy, and then he played freshman basketball at Bossy the first half of the season, because at Christmas time, they moved to the west side. Now, during that first game when we played, I guarded George, and I don't remember if George guarded me or not. He probably did. I don't know. Anyhow, he moved during the Christmas holidays. Back in those days, where else was the day you moved. And so he came to Rice, and the first day back from the Christmas holidays, he was on our team, and he was my other guard on that basketball team. So that may not be a record for pretty good average, you know, when you got a guy playing 2 games in 1 year like that. And of course, then George went ahead and led it at Rice in football and basketball and track. He used to run on the same track team I did. That's the only thing I know I beat him in that time. He ran the half mile, I think, wasn't it, George?
Yeah, the other guys were faster than the 100, so I ran the half mile.
Okay.
1 year. I didn't run it again after that. 1 year was enough.
I can't remember not to tell this story. Some of you have heard it before, but this is honest to God truth. We should have had that guy that writes those things that happened in Evansville. What's his name, Eaton? But when we were juniors, back in those days, if you went from football to basketball, you had to have 10 days of practice. I don't care what it was. Isn't that right, Bob? Remember? 10 days of practice. Well, we had 5 football guys that played coming out for basketball. And so they were ineligible for this first game. And they were Ed Wessel, George Byers, Charlie Fisher, my cousin Johnny Stinchfield, and the one and only former member of this group, Archie Owen. Now, maybe you not even know that Archie played basketball, but he did. And they weren't allowed to play. We only had 1 or 2, yes.
Is that when Sam got to start?
I can't remember what he did. I think maybe he did. He did. And I think I was the other lineman. But anyhow, they couldn't play, and we had to go up and play Vincennes in the first game. We had some animosity between them because we had a kid at Rice with the name of, I mentioned him a while ago, Sandiford. And he kind of bragged a little bit about when he moved to Vincennes, how they were going to beat us and this and that. But when we went up there, we didn't have anybody. Like I said, we played them. They had a kid named Inman, and his dad was the coach up there, and you probably still remember that. We played them at that, what do they call it? Played Adams, yeah, okay, that was a big place there, about the size of Central Gym. And so we played them, and luckily we beat them 36-35, but by 1 point. And we had told them, and Coach Riggs said, now, you guys can't play, you lettermen, go up there in the stands and mind your manners and this and that. Well, they knew better to tell that group anything like that. You can imagine Ed Wessel up there with Archie Owen. Why, hell, you knew something was going to break loose. And so they're up there, and they're booing and back and forth. And then we come down with 5 seconds to go and make a long shot, and we win 36-35.
Who hit it?
I ain't gonna tell you, but it wasn't Ed. It wasn't Ed. He had a good game. But anyhow, they sent us to, the coach come in and said, hurry up, get dressed. Now we got to get out of here. We don't want any trouble. There's always been some trouble going up there in the stand. So you know me, I went ahead and got dressed as quick as I could because they were mad at me anyhow. So I got on the bus, and then all hell broke loose. Man, I'm telling you, they were out this way. We had a bus driver who drove through those old McClary lines. I don't know if any of you remember them McClary lines. That's a new bus. And he had an axe. He had an axe up in the top of the bus. And these guys start going. I mean, it was free for all. And I remember Ed was defending himself, and he was down in the gutter. And somebody come up and hit him. And then I knew George, his dad's along, and he's not going to do anything wrong. But I remember he looked over and saw Ed, and I saw it too. I saw Ed laying down there on the sidewalk out of the gutter. And George goes up to him and presses him on the shoulder, and that guy turned around and oh my God, we're going to be in bad trouble now. So they go ahead and that guy got that axe out and he starts swinging around. And I get back on the bus. You don't took his bus driver. Get on the bus. Get on the bus. Get on the bus. About that time, Coach Riggs and our business manager Glenn Trawl, whatever, they got back on the bus and said, "All right, get on here now. We're getting out of here and we're going to eat outside of town. We got a restaurant out there." You remember that, George? We went out to this restaurant. And we got out there, and they always, back in those days, they fed you after every game. So we got in there, and they ordered a couple hamburgers, cheeseburgers, and a quart of milk, or whatever it was. And as soon as we got in there and got set down, the doors opened, and my God, here come half of Knox County in. I mean, they came around that building on the inside and never did sit down, just came around and made a line a couple deep all the way around. And Glenn Trawl, the business manager, said, "I'll be back in just a minute." So he goes in with the girl in there and they get on the telephone and he calls the state cops and he calls the Vincennes Police Department and he told that waitress back there to make those hamburgers to go. and so we got on that damn bus and the state cops and police, they formed a line that goes right down there and then they come in and said, "Okay, let's go." And we walked out between those. They had the bus door right outside the door of the restaurant. We got on there and then go home. And finally, Riggs come up to me and said, "Did you have anything to do with that kind of burden?" I said, "Hell, I only weigh 130 pounds. I was hiding in the back seat of the bus." Hell, there's no way I was going to get out there and do that. But anyhow, that was made quite a spiel in the papers here way back there. But anyhow, George, I know you remember that was going on like that. Whether you really hit that guy that bad or not, I don't know, but it sure saved us a lot.
I don't remember that.
Okay, so George, anything else you can think of that we did in high school, or we worked at Burdette Park, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, your dad was the manager out
He
there.
was the manager out there.
Yeah, and he had a little old car to drive, a Ford or something, but he made you walk home every night from Burdette Park.
Named Jog.
Yeah, okay.
No, I used to jog out there every morning, get
Yeah.
shape for Rice football.
Yeah, that's right.
Cecil Couch used to try to pick me up, and I wouldn't let him pick me up.
Made you
I
run.
remember that.
Okay, that's George.
One highlight for the Central guys that remember Frank Switz. Well, George was a sophomore. He held Frank Switz scoreless.
Yeah. And
That was a big deal.
That's when Central had some good teams in there, and we played them the seniors, and they went to the final game of state when Lee Hamilton got hurt, and we were ahead twice in the last minute. But then they had a guy named Siggy Vanover. He closed his eyes and shot a couple of them. And it was a Central gym anyhow, and they've been playing there for 2 or 3 years. You know, they got to play 5-6 nights a week. Okay, so anybody have anything? Okay, George. How about a hand for George? Okay, yes.
Jerry,
How'd you?
we'll have an official meeting of the Bossy Bee Club next week. The official meeting of the Writing Club is called to order.
Okay, with that, we've got Ed Wessel coming in here. Okay, Ed.
Quite a night Friday night. Very wonderful ceremony at the bowl when the playing surface was named Herman Byers Field, and we had a reception, and many people attended, and the ceremony was very impressive, very well planned. One thing I was very thankful for, they ran a bus down the hill and up to the playing surface, and then after the ceremony, the bus ran back up the hill, because I sure as hell couldn't have made it. I had to walk. Now, also, George was quite a football coach in the state of California, and wrote a couple of books, coaching books on defense, one on overall defense and one specifically on pass defense. So, very knowledgeable football man. We were teammates together, ran around together, and had a lot of fun together. And of course, we were all fortunate to who had played for a man, Herman Byers, that deeply affected the lives of each and every one of us. I can still hear those voices, those words, and so it was a big influence on my life, on many other young men. So it was really a memorable night, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, there are a lot of things going on in the world. Gaddafi has fallen. Now, Gaddafi is probably the only man uglier than Willie.
You got more hair.
The wicked witch is dead. Now, here's some of the other headlines that are out today. Man kills self before shooting wife and daughter. Good. Think about that. Hard to do. Now, something went wrong in jet crash, experts say.
These are true headlines.
Well, no kidding. Pretty drastic measure by the police last night. Police began campaign to run down jaywalkers. And this one here really got me, and it's very touching. Panda mating fails. Veterinarian takes over. What a guy, huh? And coal miners, poor souls, miners refuse to work after death. Stop and think about that for a while. And believe this or not, it's going to get cold shortly, but a cold wave is linked to temperatures. They figured that out. Now, here's another one. Couple slain. Police suspect homicide. And, boy, this is pretty fantastic, I think. Red tape holds up new bridge. Boy, if you cross that one, you know, it might be a challenge. Well, those are just a few of the headlines today. And how many of you ever suffered depression? You ever depressed, down, sad, don't know where to turn next, troubles and woes overwhelm you? Well, here's a case. After both suffering from severe depression, my wife and I decided to commit suicide yesterday. Well, strangely enough, after she killed herself, I started to feel a lot better. And I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll try to make a go out of it. And here's one that touches you. You know, Donna always hugs Jerry. Now, do any of you get hugged by Donna other than Jerry?
We're all jealous.
Do what?
We're all jealous.
I am. But none of us get hugged by Donna other than Jerry. Well, this is a story.
Weatherhome does pretty good.
You gotta come early. I've never seen Jack do very well.
He hugged Jerry too?
Now, a farmer was selling his peaches door to door. You know, back in the old days, he used to do that. He used to go door to door and try to sell things. And he knocked on a door, and a shapely 30-something woman dressed in a very sheer negligee answered the door. He raised his basket to show her his peaches and asked, "Would you like to buy some peaches?" And she pulled the top of her negligee to one, and I think it would be a nice gesture if the Huddleback contributed to the Evansville Vandenberg School Foundation for a scholarship fund for it. And you might want to propose that. If someone would put that in the form of a motion, we could take a vote on it. I think it would be a fitting tribute to Herman. He came every week and enjoyed it and laughed, cut up, and joked, and we just had a real good time with him. So, something you might want to do.
I went to the doctor the other day and I had water on the knee. He said, "You ought to improve your aim." You ever notice some things unexplainable? The sport of choice for the urban poor is basketball. The sport of choice for maintenance level employees is bowling. The sport of choice for frontline workers is football. The sport of choice for supervisors, baseball. The sport of choice for middle management is tennis. The sport of executives and officers is golf. The amazing conclusion, the higher you go in the corporate structure, the smaller your balls become. There must be tens of thousands of people in Washington playing marbles. I've often been asked, what do old folks do now that they're retired?
Marlon Maylow and I will watch over both of them, and I just want to pass this by you. There'll be signs out there to tacked onto a tree so you can remember them. But it's honor system. We're going to give an award to the two you play with pairs with a partner, and if you play a game, you get a point. If you win a game, you get 2, and you continue to play. The ones that come out with the most points will get the award. So, now we have $51.50 in the pot, and let's see, Phil Byers gets to shuffle them up. Here you go, Phil. You had a shot last week and didn't get it. Yeah. Okay. Ah! Yeah! What is he is? Popcorn. Popcorn. Oh. This guy has won money on the last 2 draws in a row. And here he is going for $51.50. He didn't get it. Yeah. But the pot will be probably over 60 next week, so better be there.
And we go to somebody wins, right?
Yes.
Right, Bob, we go to somebody win.
I'll be on that party.
There it is.
You look close.
Hand grenades.
Hand grenades and horseshoes.
Okay. Next week, we play somebody wins, Bob. Play till somebody wins.
Yeah, somebody be a winner next week. We'll just continue to draw until somebody wins.
All right, next and last on our program, the one and only faithful Mr. Morris Riley. He's gonna give away some of these beautiful gifts, beautiful gifts.
They are good.